I have to be honest. This Shador Sanders conversation is pissing me off, like badly, because it's such a good example of how little people actually understand white supremacy and racism, and yet somehow everyone thinks that they are experts in white supremacy and racism to be able to be the arbiters of what isn't racist, what isn't white supremacy, especially from people who have never experienced white supremacy in certain ways, who have never considered white supremacy in certain ways, right? Just because you can say, oh, it's wrong for the police to barge into a woman's home while she's asleep and murder her, or it's wrong for the police to kneel on somebody's neck until they suffocate and die. Okay, those are not the only ways that white supremacy and racism manifest, especially not in the daily life of black and brown people. And this is something that I think also because people internalize these things so much, these systems and these constructs and this history, that even a lot of black and brown people don't understand white supremacy and racism, not truly. So what I've seen a lot in relation to Shador is this idea of, well, he's so egotistical, we got to humble him. Well, that's interesting, because I don't see the same narrative about white quarterbacks. I've seen that actually be something that's a positive, right? Oh, they have edge to them. We want our quarterbacks to have edge. So there's that. But largely, again, the idea of needing to humble or break down a black person is racist. It's racist, right? The idea that you want to dilute an unapologetic young black man who has bravado, who, again, has deep confidence, sometimes maybe erring on arrogance, but that you feel like you need to humble, and not just humble, but now humiliate him, a top 10 Heisman candidate. It's white supremacy, right? You have a bunch of team owners, right, largely white men, colluding to break down a young black man. Oh yeah, no. We're gonna teach this boy a lesson. That is racism. That is absolutely racism. And when people bringing up things like, oh, well, other black quarterbacks have been drafted, other black players have been drafted. Yes, it's a largely black league that is also a racist league, right? Did Colin Kaepernick not happen? What? And yeah, also, yes, other black quarterbacks were taken. Cam Ward, as an example, was taken number 1. But blackness is not a monolith, right? Just because Cam Ward shows up in a way as a black person that fits the mold of what the NFL is looking for more, in sort of like the quiet, sort of palatable blackness, doesn't mean anything in relation to Shador, right? Like, again, blackness is not a monolith. You can love one black person and despise another. There are black people who are Trump supporters. There are black people who are anti-black. Being black doesn't inherently mean that you are the same type of black as somebody else. And yes, it is racist to think so. And also to this point, yeah, if we talk about the first round, sure, I can see Shador maybe not going. Second round, dicey. We are now going into the 4th round of the NFL draft, and Shador Sanders has not been drafted.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm hoping that you're doing super great from wherever you're watching me from. These are presented Genetic Stories, and I'm hoping that you are super great from wherever you're watching me from. Now, I'm not recording this video in my place because I'm in the app country, and yeah, this is what happens. So there's something that we need to discuss that is really, really important, and I felt like the urge to come out and discuss with you this topic or this issue because it's an important topic in the black community. When you talk about the black sports and the choice, that the criteria that people use to draft players, this is something to be questioned because there's so much racism that is going on around this, and people don't believe that we have great black players that can represent the United States or can take the United States to another point. And I try to say that white folks, not all of them, but at least white folks are always jealous of black progress, of black, of black performance and all those things that I've been trying to tell you for the longest time. And whatever happened in this scenario is a real depiction that these folks really are always afraid of black people. First, creating wealth, black people getting to have all these things that they should have. When you want to know that this is truth, I'll take you back in history. Look at the Tulsa massacre. Look at the Black Wall Street. All these things was sabotaged by white folks who are afraid of black greatness. Anytime a person sees black greatness, they are always afraid of something. I don't know why people are afraid of a black person being drafted somewhere up. I don't know. It is by default that they believe that this should be their space or something. But you got people debating, right? Because this is an upfront racism living with us today. So I'll just watch this video. I'll be back, and as usual, we'll have a discussion about it. As you know, this is a presenter, Jinduc Stories. And for those who are watching us for the first time, I'll ask you to subscribe to my channel, join my membership, and really get to see what we can offer you. But until then, let's watch the video. I'll be back.
And also to this point, yeah, if we talk about the first round, sure, I can see Shedeur maybe not going. Second round, dicey. We are now going into the fourth round of the NFL draft, and Shedeur Sanders has not been drafted. A top 10 Heisman candidate. And then people are also saying, like, oh, well, it's because of his father. He's a Nepo baby. Well, that's interesting, right? Sure, maybe. But never have I heard being a Nepo baby such an issue, right, for people otherwise. Because realistically, when Eli Manning was drafted, Archie Manning's son, Peyton Manning's brother, he was difficult. So much so that he didn't want to go to the team that drafted him, the Chargers. So he forced himself to get traded to the Giants. But Shedeur is difficult. Okay. Cool. This is all largely rooted in the same reason why Lamar Jackson wasn't drafted until late in the draft, right? When he should have probably been the first pick. This is a multi-time MVP now. But before, he was just, for lack of a better term, an urban hood black guy who should have probably been a wide receiver until he showed you, nah, I'm a quarterback. Right? Racism, white supremacy. Y'all don't know what you're talking about, right? I mean, the last thing I would say is even the idea that so many of you are getting off on the fact that this is happening to Shedeur is because you actually hate black people. And some of you have internalized, even as black and brown people, internalized anti-blackness without realizing it, right? How blackness shows up in a way that works for you or doesn't work for you is largely rooted in white supremacy, racism, and anti-blackness. Wearing the chain, having the bravado, throwing the rollie up, while also producing, yeah, you don't like that. You want your black boys to go to church, be quiet, and just say, I have nothing to say. Football and God over everything. We know what you want. And we know why you want it. Racism. Simple as that. And I'm not going to argue with a bunch of people who aren't, I mean, even if you are an expert, I'm not going to argue with you. But y'all don't know what you're talking about. Literal experts. I'm going to be egotistical for a second. I'm an expert on race. Literally an expert on race. Degrees, readings. I get paid to come in and unpack these things. And yet I have white guys in my comments and black guys in my comments and white women in my comments and black women in my comments and all sorts of people of color in my comments. It's not about race. What do you know about race? What do you know about race? Nothing. Sorry.
47 continues to embolden the racists and the bigots, including those who own NFL teams. People who say politics don't matter are not paying attention. There is absolutely no way Shedeur Sanders should have gone from being the number 2 draft pick to being drafted as number 144 because politics matters. They're emboldened. They feel righteous. They feel like, oh yeah, well, humility is important and you just need to, we want to make sure it's a good fit. And, we're not sure if he's going to be coachable. You talk about how black men abandon their families, yet when a black man does not do that, stands strong and stands up for his kids, now all of a sudden he's a problem. It's not a problem when Archie Manning does it. It's not a problem then, but oh my God, Deion Sanders, absolutely not. He talks too much. He's got too much to say. You just need to sit down and be quiet, like a good little boy. That's what they mean. When they say, you just really need to be humble. And the media is absolutely, responsible for what is happening right now. You don't go from being number 2 to being drafted as number 144 without the media having a huge say. So this anonymous coach that they're talking about, and all this thing, he didn't do this and he didn't. Y'all, We done seen folks knock folks out and get drafted. Robbing, drug charges. Y'all can save that BS for somebody else. Because see, the character of a person does not matter. Y'all draft women beaters. Y'all draft rapists. Y'all don't give a damn about what somebody acts like or what they think or what they do. What you care about are the dollars. You care about the talent that they are going to bring and the billions of dollars that they are going to bring to your franchise. That is what you care about. Y'all pay off hookers and strippers and all kinds of stuff. Y'all be paying off baby mamas. Y'all cannot sit here and act like the issue is, oh, he just wasn't humble enough. No. The issue is he's not bending the knee. The issue is he does not need you, and you are trying to make sure that the little black boy stays in his place. The issue is you are trying to make him a pawn when he was created to be a knight. When he is being elevated to being a king, you do not want him to take that. And so you play politics, and you act like humility is the issue. Because you've drafted folks with serious character flaws. And now you want to act like humility is the character flaw that broke the camel's back. We're gonna show him. Yeah. I don't care what anybody says. Politics is in everything. And 47 has emboldened the racists and the bigots, including all of these NFL team owners.
Man, at this point, 4th round, show me them interviews. I want to see it. Honestly, I want to see just how bad these interviews supposedly were. And I'm talking to my own team as well, New York Giants. Show me the interviews. Because I'm doing the math. I'm looking at all of the teams who spent extra time with Shador, all of the ones who supposedly showed their interest. That rumor had to have come from one of these teams. I'm really thinking it came from the Giants. It's sad for me to say, but if that proves to be true, I am highly disappointed in my team, and I want to see those interviews. Because unless that young man walked into the interview and said, I will never practice for you, I will sell drugs at the facility, I will follow you home and assault your family the first chance that I get, there is nothing that he could. What was so bad? Y'all got to stop playing with the fans. Y'all really do. All right. NFL teams like to be, oh, we do so much research. We do all of this stuff. There are things that we know that the fans don't know. This is a time when fans, especially football fans, have never had more access to players, have never had more knowledge about schemes, have never been more informed about the league and the sport as a whole. So y'all can't keep running this excuse of we know something that everybody else doesn't. Show me the interviews. Show us. Freedom of Information Act. Show us those interviews.
So we're out here doing all this work to make sure our young black boys are visionary, self-assured, confident, going as far even in Shador Sanders' case to practice their autographs at a young age, because we know the work we're going to put in. We know what we're going for. And what we saw with this year's NFL draft pick in terms of the response to Shador Sanders' pick and his timing was that it is indeed a crime to be an uppity Negro. No, I don't mean a legal one, I mean a public one. And while I am no NFL expert beyond studying the Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show, I can smell when people are upset about uppity blackness, especially rich uppity blackness, from a mile away. Especially that desire to humiliate a young black boy who has not done the started from the bottom now we hear journey that most people are comfortable with. Am I talking about the real business football concerns that different members in the NFL might have about Sanders as a player? Absolutely not. We're not tackling that. Sure, he opted out of playing in the Shrine Bowl and said, I'm not going to necessarily participate in some drills done at the combine. It's totally fair for industry experts and league evaluators to go, we wonder how he'll play out as a quarterback in the locker room, right? We think his throw is good, but not great. We're loving his accuracy and his timing and the way he pulls certain things together. We have questions about XYZ. That's totally fine. This is a business decision and you are allowed to do that. And no one is crying racism because of that. We know he started all 4 of his collegiate seasons. We know his second school, the one at Colorado, retired his jersey along with another person. And of course, his dad is not the only person behind that. There's no way he could pull that off. Sanders has been noted to have an accurate deep throw. It is a plus, not a minus, that his father, Deion Sanders, has been there to help him and give him advice. And there was a reason that even President Trump himself tweeted that somebody better pick this guy if they want their team to win. And there's a reason that he was predicted as the NFL's #1 draft pick. It's been reported that some of his NFL interviews went really well and some didn't go as well. And there's a whole discussion here about how Saunders refuses to code switch, but how he tries and talks about trying to keep things as professional as possible while remaining true to himself. Participating in the NFL draft when you've been told you're going to be the #1 pick, when you have a wealthy family and doing a custom room, a chain, having a big celebration, what is wrong with that? What is arrogant about that? The feedback and shock that we saw around him having to wait so long to be drafted was not to do with necessarily his plays or his stats. It had to do with how people felt about his wealth and how people felt about how he carried himself. I saw some gleeful, embittered, angry comments that had absolutely nothing to do with his game. There was all this talk around arrogance and just over-the-top confidence, and I went and I checked out his page expecting some loud-spoken, brash child, and what I found was a soft-spoken, confident kid who has an awareness of all his different entrepreneurial pursuits and seems to be very grateful for all he has. What I found was that people seemed shook that a rich black kid with a rich black family from a dad who has been in this industry for a long time was acting like one. I found all over his Instagram this community of people who were really proud of the different partnerships he was working on and the work he's put into his own craft. They are happy to see this legacy and this brand continue, this kind of vision in this particular young man. Black boys in custom chains and nice cars with nice houses is fine to a lot of people, as long as you start with a distance and a story of struggle and pain. If you're never see come see, if you look around glad and frightened to be there, they see us and they're uncomfortable and they want us to be uncomfortable too. I am not seeing insufferable, unearned swagger. I am seeing someone step into his inheritance. And when he did not get his way and he had humiliating rounds of going from #1 draft pick to sliding all the way down to the final day, what did we see? People from their comments seem to be expecting a hissy fit, somebody crashing out. No, we see someone thanking God and thanking his family for the opportunity to even play the game and be here. This obsession with making young black boys grovel at the feet of like white corporations, that's something I thought we left behind with the Michael Orr mess. And he even said he was horrified to look back at how people had changed his story to be how he was like this mute and brutish animal who couldn't play football and didn't know anything until the white people saved him. I have more to say about the stories we want to squeeze out of young black men, but until then, keep your chin up and your chain on, Mr. Sanders, because I'm glad to see you win in this case.
Shador's going to Cleveland. Probably should have happened at the end of the first round. Should have happened in the second round. There's no reason why they should have drafted Dylan Gabriel over him. This was a humiliation ritual. This was a humiliation ritual. Just plain and simple. Now, Adam Schefter is now saying, hey, the Sanders developed a really great relationship with Jimmy Haslam, right? Like there's reporting that Cleveland brought him in tons of times, all these different things. The wildest part about all this is Deshaun's never going to play another snap in the NFL. Like, I don't think there's any question about that. Deshaun Watson will never play another snap in the NFL. He's just under contract right now. Joe Flacco, 372 years old. Shador Sanders could start there this year. Like, Shador Sanders could start in Cleveland this year. Kenny Pickett is awful. Horrible. Mind you, Kenny Pickett was a first-round pick, but that's beside the point. Shador could start there this year. So, like, shout out to the GM of the Browns. You might have gotten your Week 6 starting quarterback at 144. That's crazy. But this was a humiliation ritual if I've ever seen one. And I don't know. It's happened. This is what we were all waiting for. I could turn this mess off now. Like, congratulations to anyone else who gets drafted. We was only watching for this one thing, if we're keeping it to that. But, yeah, that's it. Next time on my TED Talk.
Let's talk about what just happened to Shador Sanders, because it's not just about football. It's about power, race, and how black athletes are still punished for refusing to know their place. A year ago, Shador was being talked about as the potential #1 NFL draft pick. And just last weekend, Colorado retired his jersey number, a rare honor. And yet, when draft night came, Sanders wasn't picked in the first round, or the second, or the third. What happened? Some say he's overrated. Others say that he benefited too much from throwing to Travis Hunter, like Johnny Manziel did with Mike Evans at Texas A&M. Except Johnny, a white quarterback, still went in the first round. No hesitation. But there's a deeper, uglier story here. Word leaked that the NFL owners and general managers didn't like Sanders' attitude, that his entitlement and his arrogance put them off. They didn't like that he skipped the draft in Green Bay to throw his own party in Texas, surrounded by dollar bill signs and his personal brand, legendary. They didn't like that he celebrated himself without their permission. Does this sound familiar? It should. It's the same script that blackballed Colin Kaepernick for kneeling during the anthem. It's the same script that always punishes black athletes for being too proud, too loud, too free. Let's be clear. White athletes show swagger all the time and get called confident, fiery, competitive. But when a young black man dares to do the same, when he refuses to bow, refuses to be grateful in the way that these owners expect, suddenly he's entitled, difficult, arrogant. And this isn't just about Sanders. It's systemic. It's why black quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson are still called athletic, while white quarterbacks are called intelligent, or they have great football IQ. It's why Simone Biles gets criticized for being too good. It's why black baseball players, when they flip bats, are called disrespectful, while a white player gets a Gatorade commercial. Talent has never been the question. Character has never been the question. Control has always been the question. Until we stop pretending that there is a level playing field and start calling out racism baked into how athletes are judged, punished, and remembered, the system will keep producing the same old outcomes. Shadir's story isn't an exception. Unfortunately, it's the rule, and it's time we admitted it.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are great. Now, I believe when we talk about equal opportunity when it comes to black folks and white folks, especially in the United States, and sometimes people might try to devalue black people and say that it's not about race or something. But when you try to look at it deeply, mostly 90%, race plays a big role in this. And we have seen whenever we have a black person that is trying to do well, or a black person that is doing much more greater than other white folks in the same company, they'll have the black person not because not because he's not great, but because he's so valuable to the company to the extent that they cannot afford to lose this person. And when they could, and if the person makes a mistake, you are going to see how he's going to be called names. For the longest time, when we have black players or black people who do well in sports, they are called American citizen. When a black person does something wrong, it now turns and then they're being told, go back to Africa, where we are having losers. And you get to see that this doesn't sit well with black folks, right? And I think all of these things that is happening in the NFL today, the Super Bowl debate that I'm seeing people are trying to talk about, it's important if we recognize that for the longest time we have black people that have been trying to do well for themselves, but they have not gotten the chance to do so, because for the longest time, anytime they try to do so well, the government or the people who are put in these places always finds a way of sabotaging this something which is good. And so this has led to a debate where people are saying this is an upfront racism, or people are saying that some folks are always trying to pull race card when it comes to this, when the reality is that these are just people who are trying to talk about the problems that they are going through. I mean, you understand? So, as a matter of fact, I believe that everyone deserves an equal opportunity, right? Everyone deserves equal opportunity in everything that is happening today. So I really don't know. I mean, I really didn't have much to put in this video, but all I know is that racism is a problem that is going on in the United States. And conveniently, black people are being recognized as people who are well only if they benefit the people who they see importance to them. If they don't benefit, now that's all that starts happening. Again, you get to look at people like Tina Turner, Michael Jackson. Try to look at their life and how all these things happen. You get to understand that their names started sounding like a public enemy because they were not doing what the corporate wanted them to do, right? But when they were doing things how the corporate wanted, they were good people. They were people who were recognized. So I feel like this is a matter for us to try to discuss and understand how these things work. About the story that is happening, I didn't have much to say about it, but again, at the end of the day, I believe that people deserve equal chances because the American system have always been talking about the meritocracy. I think if the United States is practicing meritocracy, this is the perfect example. This is a perfect example of them to try to talk about the meritocracy that they are always saying. Right now, I didn't have much to say about this, but I just wanted to share my opinion in regards to this. These are presenter Jiduk Stories. I'm hoping to see you on my next video. But until then, peace, love, and harmony. Salute.